Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Well, now that our betters in big corporate media have all but called the election for Joe Biden, salivating at the thought of anyone but Donald Trump occupying the Oval Office, we come face to face with a proposition all but dismissed just a few months ago. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. as the leader of the free world. Now, the key word in there is leader, because what people of all political stripes are thirsting for in this time of peril, with multiple existential crises occurring in real time, is genuine leadership. The times call for a man or woman with the ability to see beyond the fog of political and cultural upheaval, reassure a flagging people, and present a coherent and saleable and optimistic vision of the future. And while we are all now well aware of Donald Trump's leadership skills, like them or not, we are compelled to undertake a thorough examination of the leadership capacity of the Democrat nominee, whose campaign has been defined by, shall we say, a low profile. Questions abound, and they start with the issue of the former vice president's evident cognitive decline. No doubt, the man who played wingman for Barack Obama and debated effectively against Sarah Palin in 2008 and Paul Ryan in 2012 demonstrated the political skill and mental acuity commensurate with the role of vice president. But is there anyone who would deny that he's hardly the same man today? He presents as elderly, plotting, intentional with every move and utterance, projecting a level of mental and physical agility hardly befitting the job description of the most powerful man in the world. The striking contrast with Donald Trump, the COVID-plagued but endlessly dynamic 45th president, is hard to miss. At the same time, it's logical to assume that after 4 years of Trump, the firestorms which have defined his deliberately disruptive presidency and the downward spiral in this year like no other, many people may have just reached the point where they believe normalcy as it was once defined, optimistically framed as a calm and steady hand at the helm per no drama Obama, should be the hallmark of a leader for such a time as this. After all, it seems everything has changed since COVID-19 laid down an indelible marker, driving us forward to a future far more unknown than we could have possibly imagined when the calendar first turned to 2020. Will voters, 4 years after bravely rejecting the status quo to which Biden would return us, decide to do a 180 and go back to the future when everything we hold dear has been stretched to the breaking point and the old normal is no longer even possible? Then there's the matter of the Biden agenda. Compare the positions he's publicly embraced on critical issues for almost 50 years to those he now holds in deference to the Democrats' hard left progressive base on areas as diverse as the environment, taxes, trade, criminal justice, guns, others. Does Biden have the capacity to hold his own against the mounting pressure of leftists employing his harmless face as a front for their radical policy prescriptions? We could fully expect a proliferation of conspiracy theories mirroring those from the left during the Bush 43 presidency, when it was assumed that Dick Cheney was the man behind the curtain calling the shots for the hapless man in the Oval Office. Would Biden be capable of holding back the forces within his own party seeking an undiluted Green New Deal and 100% government-run health care and the astronomical tax hikes and economy-crippling regulations necessary to implement them? How will Joe Biden sell the idea that shutting down fossil fuel industries is worthwhile as millions lose their jobs to the futuristic vision of a 100% green economy. But with less than a month to go before Election Day, Trump's COVID-19 diagnosis has apparently put the pandemic back atop the list of issues concerning the voters. When President Trump shut down travel from China in January, Biden condemned the move, called it xenophobic. He later objected to Trump's travel ban from Europe. Imagine if we had followed the counsel of Biden instead of Trump. Many thousands more would certainly have died. The former vice president played Monday morning quarterback on virtually every hard decision Trump was forced to make during a pandemic which refuses to surrender. But he's offered little to nothing in the way of alternatives. He and his fellow travelers on the left have depicted Trump as a dictator from the moment he descended that escalator more than 5 years ago. And yet, as the president rightly placed the ultimate power to address this crisis in the hands of individual state governors per the 10th Amendment and the federalist nature of the U.S. Constitution, Biden has, with great cruelty, assigned Trump the singular blame for the over 200,000 who've died with or from COVID. But is that leadership? Throwing verbal stink bombs from the safety of the cheap seats while the man in the arena is struggling to catch a tiger by the tail? On the international front, as with many other issues, Biden has reversed his rhetoric on the nation which presents the greatest threat to America, now talking tough about China to match Trump's hard line after decades of official appeasement in the Senate and as vice president. In the end, could a President Biden truly be his own man? Is he capable of commanding the room, commanding the stage, and commanding the nation in a time of profound crisis? Can we be confident in the wrenching and complex and profoundly significant decisions he would make as the nation's chief executive, affecting the lives of hundreds of millions of people? Those are the questions that should be burning inside voters trying to decide whether the Donald Trump era should come to an end after 4 years or 8.
Election 2020 Big Bottom Flash Reports are coming. On election night, at the bottom of every hour, LibertyNation.com will give you Election Night 2020, 90 seconds at a time, with our Big Bottom Flash Reports. You'll get the drop with our one-stop shop. Tune into LibertyNation.com on election night for our Big Bottom Flash Reports at the bottom of every hour. LibertyNation.com.